Awesome. Welcome, Danielle Longano. So nice to have you join us. So I would like today we are talking about in our continuing series on ABCs of leadership. So you and I have stepped into like next level, like high level, PhD level leadership. And we have a vision for like blessing other people with the knowledge that we've been receiving, right? So
Yeah.
today is Jay, and you are picking the topic of
Joy!
yeah, I love it. So bring us some joy here. What have you been up to? How are you creating joy in your life?
Oh, thank you, Trina. Thank you for having me here today. And when I saw that J was for joy, I am a loving, trusting, vulnerable woman, and I stand for abundance, love, and joy. So I knew it was my day to give back. And so I appreciate you for taking the time every day, consistency, commitment to sharing the ABCs of transformation with the world. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that. So thank you.
Thank you. I love it.
Yay.
Oh, good.
So, yes. So, Trina, for me, joy is not necessarily happiness. Joy is a being, a way of being that I am choosing every day. Now, that doesn't mean that I have crappy days or that I'm not happy all the
Right.
time, because I'm not happy all the time. Like, I
Yeah.
have struggles, I have challenges, but I'm choosing joy underneath it. It's like seeing the blue sky through all the clouds. You know that the blue sky is up there
Yeah.
and it could be pouring rain, a deluge, and it's choosing to remind myself that the blue sky is still there.
Yeah. That I know that I was hearing that just as you started speaking. I'm like, yeah, the joy doesn't depend on our circumstances, right? We can be happy if we've got really good circumstances. And joy is kind of just like this underlying foundation. It's like we know who we are, we know we're loved, we know we're going to experience like moments of trial and like sadness and sorrow and all the things, but underneath it, we have like this firm foundation, right? Like, tell me more about that.
So for me, there are just simple things that you can do every single day.
Mhm.
And they are simple things that you can easily do, but then you can also easily not do.
Oh, okay.
And I think people in society choose to easily not do them rather than choosing to easily do them.
Okay.
And for me,
Let's,
do you agree with that?
yeah, let's hear it. Like, do you have a list for us?
I do. So the
Okay.
first one is giving yourself permission to be joyful. And I saw that in a thread this morning is people not giving themselves permission to be joyful. And that is the first step, is surrendering that you are worthy of joy. You are worthy to shine your light. That by shining your light isn't going to dim somebody else's.
I love it. That
And
is so
so
cool.
that to me is that first step that you get to choose every single day over and over and over. I am worthy of joy.
I am worthy of joy and I give myself permission to feel joy. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's step one. Do you have another step?
Letting go of the past. When
Let's
we
go,
hold on
right?
to the past, we don't allow ourselves the opportunity of the future. We have already predetermined because now we're afraid. We're afraid of that past
Hmm.
repeating itself.
Yeah.
And so when we project our past, how we were hurt, how we were scorned, how we were rejected, how we were ignored, how we were hurt,
Yes.
and we expect that in the future,
Yes.
then that creates our present.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I feel like you're speaking to me like what people have been telling me for since for a long time. of Trina, let go of the story that people aren't listening to you, right? It's just like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
or what did you say? Maybe I got like that was kind of a personalized message for me, right? Because I keep telling myself, oh, well, nobody's listening. And it's like, wait, no, people are listening. And I get to change that story, let go of the fact of whatever it was in the past and just move forward into like creating and focusing and visualizing and being in the space of the now. Like right now, we are in connection, we are creating joy, and we are listening to one another, right? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. And so now you get to collect evidence of
yeah.
how you are transforming the world,
Oh,
that your voice matters. And the proof, your results, are us lining up, wanting to serve and being present for your ABCs of transformation.
thank you. Yeah,
So, yes, it's collecting evidence now
yeah,
of what works
yeah,
instead of collecting evidence of what doesn't work from the past.
yes,
And the future is unknown. It gets to be exciting.
yeah,
We're not afraid to say, I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner tonight because it's unknown. It's exciting. The world is my oyster.
yeah,
So why, with everything else in my life, relationships especially, or money,
yeah,
two big things that people are like, oh, well, I lost all my money in the past, or I don't trust people because I got screwed, whether a relationship or money or
yeah.
whatever. And
Well,
so we put up these walls and then we don't let anyone in. And so that's what we create. We
okay.
attract
I
that.
want to hear more about that because there's so many people even on our team and that like we it seems like we are in this collective space of like, oh, well, I've used all my money for the education that I'm gaining, right? And it's this story that we're kind of in, like collectively, like multiple people on our team. And so like how like tell me more about you said that's walls that we're putting up. So we've decided that we keep reflecting to ourselves this truth and like let's like take us through that journey of how we get through those walls. How do we create this belief and the space of the abundance that we get to like generate in the world and receive?
Yeah. Thank you, Trina. For me, it's again, letting go of the past. And
Yeah.
the past is behind me. And I get to go back and reflect on what did work in the past.
Yeah.
And I get to also see what didn't work.
Okay.
And for what didn't work, how do I get to shift that into something that works in the future? And by not putting myself back out there, how am I going to know that I shifted it from what didn't work to what worked?
Okay.
So for me, like just today, um, I chose to take another risk in my investing career. And like I took a risk a year ago, and there is money sitting in an account that I have no access to. And so I could say, oh, well, I'm never going to invest again
Okay.
because I don't have access. I might not ever have access to that money again.
Yeah.
And instead, I'm like, okay, I'm putting myself out there. Now, is this money putting food on the table? Is it paying a mortgage? No. So, yes, be cognizant and responsible when, you're taking that next step. I'm not saying go and take your mortgage money or food that you're going to, feed your family with to
Yeah.
reinvest. But just take that leap, that the unknown, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's one, letting go of the past. Two, it's accepting your flaws. When I accept that I'm not perfect, which is a new thing for me, I always thought I had to show up perfectly, that nobody wanted to see the breakdowns and the shit show behind. They
It's
just wanted to see my perfect polished self.
People don't. Isn't that so funny? Because I've just started following this lady on Instagram. I'm new to Instagram, but the one thing that popped up is this lady, this diary of an honest mom. And like I was putting on my makeup on my live this morning, she did a whole thing. Like she's like, we're just gonna sit down and chat, and I'm gonna put like on my like my augmented eyelashes, right? And so she does that and talks, and I'm like, people want to see that too. Like, it's real life, right? And a lot of her posts are like comments on the breakdowns that we feel in relationships as a mom. And so it's like, yeah, I see that. It's like, and she gets so much response. People are like, this is real life. And so that's a real, for me, I'm hearing you. I'd like to hear more, a little bit more about like what helped you get past that feeling of the need for perfection into this place where you're like, I get to show up real. And what would you say? Like, would you call it real and in authentic? Like, how would you describe your new way of being?
Yeah, I totally am authentic now. And I'm going to just reflect back to you. Like, did you feel that you could relate to her
Yes.
when she was being authentic?
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's like throwing temper tantrums on the screen and you're like, yeah, this is like how you feel as a mom. Like it's like, oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. So did you feel like, oh, I don't have to be perfect, or oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I am screwing it up with passion and
Yeah.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did that kind of, I don't know, how did that make you feel?
It's just so real, right? Because she kind of, there's just different posts that she shares in this, like, and different things I've seen on Instagram too of how people are like, like the woman who's been at home all day, and the husband comes in like after working for however many hours, and she just comes in and just is like, I know he's like exhausted, and I'm just dumping on him anyways, right? It's that awareness of like, okay, I know where you're at and I know where I'm at and I know I'm just like dumping on you and we're just being real about this and we're gonna like no comment on it. No like commentary. Just as like this is the reality. Right. And then we relate to that and then we start to think, oh yeah, how am I doing that? Right. Like when he shows up and I'm just thinking all about myself instead of like thinking about him and how does that affect our relationship and does just the fact of saying, honey, I know you like acknowledging you. Like is there that opportunity to bring some joy into that relationship when you're having the breakdown of just being honest about where you're at and what you're asking for and like not putting the expectation like there's just the like there's so many leadership principles behind that, but I think it's really an individual awareness, right? And then of being conscious of what we're creating and how we're showing up for people and then being like intentional
Yeah.
and joyful about where we're going with what we choose.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it was the safe space of leadership and being a part of a leadership program that
Mhm.
gave me the opportunity to not be perfect. And when I am messy and I mess it up with passion
Yeah.
and I don't die, it's like,
Mhm.
okay. And when people respond to me and say I'm relatable,
Yeah.
then I know that my intention is
Yeah.
I'm receiving the results. And then it took that pressure off of needing to be perfect.
Yeah. That's really powerful, isn't it? Yes, I would 100% agree that our leadership program that you and I have gone through this last year, well, I started back in January, and it's really that invitation to just guys, dive into the messy. Like go all out in the messy. Like if you're not being messy, we have a problem with you. And it's like you said, it's that safe space of leadership of like, what? I'm supposed to be messy right now? What are you talking about? Like, I just thought I was always supposed to be perfect now, and then you like get, it's like, come on, break down. And you're like, oh, that's the point, right? It was just like, it was like coach, it was like in our mentor meeting this week, where our, or last week, where we switched the goal from getting the yes to getting the no, right? As soon as you do that, as soon as you switch the goal of like, oh, I gotta be perfect too. I gotta break down. Oh, well, that's freeing. And then it's like, oh, well, I gotta like find people who say yes to me. No, have a big audacious goal that's so big. Like Coach Dan, he went and asked like 20 car dealerships, will you donate a car to this cause that I have? And he got a lot of no's. But he's like, well, nobody said yes, but if they had that would have been really cool and it was worth putting myself on the line for. And when you switch that game in your mind, now it's like it's so freeing. It's like you're not um you're not dragged down by everybody who says no to you. It's like, okay, no, next. Okay, I'm gonna find it. Like it's like trying to find the jewel, right? It's in here
Yeah.
somewhere.
And when you are striving for the rejection, who are you making it about? Are you making it about yourself? Or are you making it about the cause, the intention, the purpose?
Yeah,
Are you getting out of your head
yeah.
and focusing outward?
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
so many times, at least for me, I was afraid of the rejection and I was making it about me. And it's
right.
not about me. It's about how can my vision for shifting the world from lack to abundance, from fear to love.
Yeah.
And I mean, I look at all these leaders in our history that didn't make it about them.
Like who?
And
Give us an example of somebody that you look up to.
oh my gosh, Gandhi, I mean, he just kept going, kept moving forward. He didn't make it about him. He was willing to pay the ultimate price of sacrificing his life for
Mhm.
what he stood for.
Yeah,
Martin Luther King, Schindler. I mean, like
yeah.
it's just these huge movements. And somebody shared today in one of our threads a man who blindfolded himself, had a sign on a street corner, and just said, the sign said, if you're upset with what's going on in the Gaza Strip, hug me. And seeing the outpouring of love from so many people,
Wow.
like that is my vision for the world, is
Yeah,
leading from love.
yeah.
And then it's not about me, it's about sharing that love.
Right. Isn't that
So then
cool?
the next part is not comparing yourself to others. You're only seeing one fraction of somebody else. So
Yeah.
when you start comparing yourself, and in the US, the media is just, it's just, I, it's so disheartening for young girls, especially, always comparing themselves to the picture perfect or the polished version of other people. And until you step into their shoes and walk 5 miles,
Yeah.
you don't see all their flaws. And so comparing yourself to others, let it go. We all have gifts. We're all here for a reason, and we have gifts to bring. And my gifts are different than your gifts.
Yeah.
But together, we create amazing things.
Awesome. So good. I love
Yeah.
it.
And
Thank you so
so
much.
the next one, which is so important, is giving without expecting anything in return. How many times in relationships in my past did I give, but there was a string attached or many strings attached? And, for me, it was letting go of that. Like when I give in generosity and not expect anything in return, it brings me so much joy, like to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, like that was so
Okay.
easy.
I have a question about this though, because I feel like since January, so this is October, since January, I feel like I've been giving in generosity. And now I've drained my bank account. So there's like I've got some part of this formula that's like I've it's like a give to people because it feels so good to me. Michael Strasner talked about this, right? In our last module. He was saying he got in some taxi cab with some guy and he gives some guy like leads him forward in some little nugget of knowledge that he imparts to this man in the taxi cab. And he comes away feeling so good. And I'm like, that's my life. That's the life I've been living for the last like 11 months, right? And so, but I haven't given people the opportunity to give back to me in a monetary way. And now it's like that gets to change, right? Because I feel like I know my value. I'm not curious. Like I feel like I've created this. I don't feel disempowered at all. I feel like it has been my offering of like giving in generosity. And there has been this part of me that in this space of like looking back and thinking, well, are how just questioning and trying to understand, okay, what's my next cut? So of being abundant, like I'm abundant in joy and love. I've been pouring out all my love and I keep getting more love to give to people. And somehow I get to like receive like enough like money to be able to, buy the food, pay my mortgage, go on trips, all the things, right? Do you have any like insight into that?
So my question to you, Trina, is in giving and generosity, are you putting yourself first or are you putting yourself last? Like, are you making sure your needs are met first?
No, no, I always give first. Yeah.
So
That's my pattern. Yeah.
that
Which,
my
and is
invitation.
that some, is, so is that the problem? Somehow I'm supposed to make sure my needs are met. Like I'm a little bit curious about this. How do you give in generosity and like, and put yourself first? I don't know.
So you get to make sure, I mean, and this is a ground rule for life,
Okay.
is that you get to make sure that your needs are met first, just like the analogy of the masks on the airplane. You put
Okay.
your first and then you can support others.
Yeah, this is
So
something
if you,
that maybe I'll work on this more because this, it's just like my brain's maybe so practiced to do it the other way that it's like this new neural pathway that I get to recreate, right? Like, so,
yeah,
and
because
I'm kind of excited about
can
that,
you,
about being in this situation of like having just sort of, okay, let's just go right to the bottom here. Let's just like clear everything out and start over, right? Like, so it's that's kind of where I'm at, the feeling of like, okay, guys, you know, if this pattern has not been working, awesome. Let's just clear it all out here and start fresh.
yeah, because just like, I said earlier, like you get to see what works and you get
Yeah.
to celebrate that.
Okay.
And your heart is there.
Yeah.
My experience is that you're coming from love
Yeah.
and generosity, but what's not working is you get to put your mask on first.
Hmm.
And so because how can you serve anyone else if you're not serving yourself?
Well, and that's the thing because I get so much like positive feedback and I do a lot of things that bless me like in a physical way, but it's just there's this it's like I take time for myself. I take a lot of time for myself. I go on mountains. I do all these things, right? Like I'm taking time for myself. I'm getting a lot of joy out of like generously just pouring my heart into people. And I'm getting positive reinforcement of people like saying, "Oh, I love you." Like, "Wow, you're making such a difference in my life. You just called at the right time." And it's all like I get all this like positive feedback, but it's not monetary, right? So it's like, so what like I feel like I'm on a mission like of loving people and in generosity, like so yeah, like the next step is just like the next step just almost doesn't. I think I'll sit down. Like maybe this is another whole topic. I feel like I'm like diverting us off our principles of leadership into like my own space here, but it's like it does. Like a lot of all these things do bring me a lot of joy. So I'm filled up with all this joy from, just like taking off and going and walking in the park and then finding the person who like just needs a love and a hug and a prayer at that moment, right? Like that brings me so much joy. And um I get to figure out a way to, I don't know, turn that into a mission, really, if right? Like there's a way to get paid somehow, right? But
Yeah, and you get to ask for what you want.
yes. And
And
maybe that's the ticket, right? Like maybe that's just the missing piece.
yeah, because
Yeah.
money is a self-worth and time is intimacy. So where are you not being worthy or acknowledging your worth
Yeah.
and creating abundance financially?
Yeah. I see it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Love it. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Danielle. This is
And
gold.
so the next one is being grateful
Yeah.
and every day choosing gratitude.
Hmm.
And I got some major coaching from one of our leaders. And what landed for me was instead of being disgusted by something or upset or frustrated, choosing curiosity.
Yeah.
So why is that person totally getting to me? Or
Mm.
why are they showing up like that? And
Uh,
how do I get to go to gratitude of, okay, how is this serving me,
mhm.
rather than this is being done to me? And when I shifted that perspective, it was like this weight just came off.
Okay, so you said you're shifting from this is being done to me, or what was your question? How is this serving me to what is this doing for me?
Well, so instead of coming from this is doing, or somebody's doing this to me,
Yes.
it's how is this serving me?
Okay.
How
Yeah.
how
Okay.
is this, like, I get to be in gratitude for this opportunity. So I
Uh-huh.
tell people, I'm like, don't ask for an easy life,
Yeah.
because then there's no challenges. There's
Yeah.
no like things to overcome, which your interview with Paula, oh my gosh, amazing,
You
amazing.
love that?
That she just goes for it. Like,
Yeah.
dame más, give me more. What else you got? Throw it at me. Because that's when we get to see who we really are.
Yeah.
When life is easy, we're
I
not
know.
showing up like as our highest selves.
Yeah.
It's in struggle, it's in like tumultuous times where we get to see how we really show up.
Yeah. I know. I hear that over and over and over. Even last night I was at a self-reliance, emotional resilience class, and it's right in there, like, life is designed to test you and challenge you and push you to your limits. That's the whole point of it, right? So resisting that is gonna, like, if you resist that truth that, oh, life's supposed to be perfect, what? Really? Like, you think a Olympic athlete gets super strong into the top of their game by just, like, playing easy, like, playing the minor leagues? No. Like, you wanna be the best at what you're doing, you, like, push yourself, you give yourself more challenges, and this is the part of about the responsibility that we've been talking about, where I'm seeing it. It's like, "Wait, no, I created this for myself." Like, I could have at any point been charging for my time, but it's like, "No, I think I'll just wait and make it, like, you know, get to that point where it's, like, gonna be super challenging so I can really, like, clear out first and then understand and really, like, launch, right? From the bottom, like, go, right?"
Yeah. And looking and seeing your results and acknowledging yourself and
Yeah.
celebrating yourself. Like
Yeah.
when so many people I meet, they they're not celebrating themselves
Mhm.
and their accomplishments.
Yeah.
And even me, like when somebody
Celebrate.
compliments me, I just walk right over it. Like I just like I I don't acknowledge up until now.
Right.
And so that is something that I get to transcend as well, is
Mhm.
acknowledging myself for my accomplishments and celebrate.
Celebrate. I'm writing that down. I should even have it on my I've got all these, like, words, courage, rigor, but I'm like, I should change it to, like, put some celebration on the wall. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
because I've heard that Coach Edith was saying that too. She's just like, "Celebrate the small stuff. This is how I'm getting forward."
Yeah.
So and
And
we're promoters, so we like to celebrate, right? So
exactly. We're good at celebrating everybody else, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So good.
And and touching on what you said about an athlete, um, and where they've gotten, that is the secret ingredients
Yeah.
of joy and abundance
Yeah.
is time. We live in a world where we want immediate results. Immediate. We have microwaves. Like we can't even stand in front of a microwave for 60 seconds to heat up a dinner. So our ancestors knew that when you plant the seed,
Yeah.
you get to cultivate. There is a time of cultivation
Yes.
that we don't just plant the seed and then turn around and harvest.
No.
We get to put love, time, energy, sweat, tears
Mhm.
into that vision, that dream.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll look at these amazing athletes or, you know, uh, actors or, whatever we idolize here in the United States. And we
Mhm.
think, oh, they're so lucky. They have the golden ticket. They overnight success. Well, that overnight success took 12 years
Yeah,
of a
exactly.
ton of rejection.
Yeah. And you
So
push
that
through it.
overnight success didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
And that is the secret ingredient that we get to put back into life, time.
Love it.
Yeah,
So good. So good. Awesome. Well, we've been talking for about 30 minutes. Um, did you get through your list? Did we get
I
all the
did.
points?
That was the list.
The
So
secrets to joy. Can you just like go through them really quickly for us for a recap?
yep.
And
So
then we'll like
first
end with a
is
closing message. Go ahead.
giving yourself permission to be joyful, giving yourself permission
Mm-hmm.
and letting go of the past,
Mm-hmm.
letting go of the past,
Bring
accepting your flaws,
peace.
not comparing yourself to others,
Yeah.
give without expecting in return,
Mm-hmm.
being grateful
Yeah.
for anything and everything. And some days, oh my gosh, I wake up and I'm like, I have to like think of things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
So there are always, I'm grateful to be breathing. I'm grateful to be vertical.
Yeah.
So the you get to find ways to be grateful,
Yeah.
practicing that gratitude every day. And I have a saying for that. That's on my wall. It says the secret to having it all is believing that you do.
Yes.
Believing that you do have it all.
I love that. I'm gonna use that one because I feel it. I'm like I'm good. Like I get everything that I need, right? So
You
that's cool.
love what you
Believe that.
have, you'll have everything that you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually
And
really beautiful. I want to just like hammer home that point about the joy because that last month in September I was down to Arizona to meet with Rex Crane and he shared a story like that. He was in this mansion of this man who had, millions or billions of dollars and every material thing he could ever desire or imagine. And so that was great. And then he went to Africa and there was this lady who was so excited about her little mud hut and her like three changes of clothes. She's like, God has blessed me so much. I have like three changes of clothes. Like I can change my clothes today. And like she was so excited to look at my bed. It was on the dirt. And she was just like, look at this amazing bed I have. And she was just so happy. And it was like, it's like, yeah, like that's the truth, right? It's like if we have so much to be grateful for, no matter how much we have. And the gratitude feels way better than the material things,
yeah. And
right?
when you're in gratitude, you can't help but be joyful and abundant.
Yes.
And the last one is staying focused on your dreams, on your vision. And that the secret ingredient is time. Time. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen overnight.
Yes.
You
Thank
know, we're all looking for get rich quick. How do I get rich quick? How
you.
do
Yeah.
I lose 100 pounds in 4 days?
Right.
Like, no, we get to stay focused and allow the time to cultivate, and then we get to harvest.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Did you know I'm a farm girl and I've
You
got a
get it.
garden. I love to
You
plant
get
seeds.
it.
Hmm?
And your kids get to, you get it. Like, and your
Yeah.
kids get to see
Yeah.
something that started out as this little tiny seed,
Yeah.
and how when you pour love and time into that and
Yeah.
cultivate what it sows.
So good. So good. I love that. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank
I
you,
love
Trina,
it.
for having me. Thank you for giving in generosity with this. And I appreciate your consistency, your commitment, your love. So I appreciate you so
Oh,
much.
I received that. Thank you so much, Danielle. Oh, so good. God bless you.
Thank you.